COVID-19 pandemic. Last March, while we were taking daily actions to save lives and livelihood, state budget officials presented me with fiscal projections more dire than anything any of us had ever seen. The projections showed an immediate 50% drop in revenues and more than $7.5 billion in revenue losses, which would have put out all of the incredible economic progress that we were able to accomplish over the past 6 years. In an effort to avoid that fiscal crisis, in March, I took immediate action, raising all emergency COVID-related spending and directed the Department of Management to recommend cuts to all state agencies. Veto all legislation that required any significant spending increase, and then in we took budget reductions to the public. On July 1st, the very first day of the new fiscal year, I pushed the board to approve a series of additional tough but targeted reductions. The combination of all of these early and aggressive actions, along with the more than $700 million in emergency economic relief which we pumped out into our economy, and the federal funding which we pushed for, secured, and deployed through the CARES Act, the Paycheck Protection Program, and the new COVID-19 relief bill, the federal bill, as well as all of the steps that we took to safely reopen Maryland's economy. All of those things have dramatically improved our state's fiscal outlook. Without all of those actions, the budget that we are presenting tomorrow would look radically different. Our economic recovery budget for FY 2022 will provide immediate, targeted emergency tax relief and economic stimulus to help struggling Maryland families and small businesses who need it the most. Our budget provides record investments in education, crime prevention, public health, and all of our key priorities. It also lays the foundation for a strong economic recovery for Maryland, while at the same time maintaining our commitment to fiscal responsibility. For the 7th straight year, our budget is 100% structurally balanced. We've accomplished this with no and without adding any special services for citizens. This general the necessary reserves, which will help preserve our AAA bond rating, and which will allow us to remain care for the next few years, which expect to be some of the most challenging of the pandemic. Also, enabling us to provide important targeted relief to those who need it the most. All of the specific details of the budget will be our recovery budget. Our top legislative priority is the Relief Act 2021, which this budget reflects. It provides more than $1 billion in immediate, targeted, emergency tax cuts and financial relief for families and small businesses that need it most, including immediate rebates to more than 400,000 low-income Marylanders who receive the Earned Income Tax Credit. It also permanently repeals the personal income tax on unemployment benefits and provides immediate sales tax cuts up to $12,000 for more than 55,000 small businesses, enabling them to keep more money in their pockets, to keep their businesses open, to keep more people on the payroll. In addition, our budget calls for reducing the tax burden on all Maryland retirees. This includes more than $1 billion in tax cuts to help every single retired Marylander, making it more affordable for people to stay and retire here in Maryland. Even though we're one of the best places to live in America, so many things going for we're losing many of our best citizens. People who've been lifelong Marylanders and have contributed so much and still more to offer are moving to other states for one reason: our state's sky-high retirement taxes. This legislation will help keep tens of thousands of Maryland retirees from being forced to flee our state. In addition, we will expand the Hometown Heroes tax cut to exempt law enforcement, fire, rescue, corrections, and emergency response personnel from state tax on all retirement income specific to their service. And we will increase the tax exemption for all military retiree pensions. After a long and difficult year of sacrifice and struggle, my top economic priority is making sure that Marylanders can keep more of their hard-earned money in their pockets. The last thing that should ever be done in the middle of this pandemic would be to increase taxes on struggling families and small businesses. It would cause more suffering, would short-circuit Maryland's economic recovery. I've always believed that every single child in Maryland deserves a world-class education, regardless of what neighborhood they happen to grow up in. This is especially important now, when we are working to address the learning loss caused by the disruption of the pandemic, as we continue our push to get all of our students back into the classrooms. For the 7th year in a row, we are providing historically high record funding for K-12 education. The budget has a $7.5 billion to K-12 education, which is $213 million above and beyond the education spending formulas proposed by the legislature. Their formulas would actually significantly cut education funding due to significant declining enrollment figures. But we are providing additional direct state investment to ensure not only every single penny that every jurisdiction anticipates from the state for education be fully funded at 100%, but in addition, every single school system in Maryland will once again see increased investment by the state. This is also the third budget that the casino lockbox allocates the casino revenue directly into the schools to supplement education funding. This puts an additional $375 million directly into our school systems without the need to raise any state tax. In addition, we're also putting an $150 million to support those students who are most at risk of learning loss. $53 million to expand full-day pre-K for every 4-year-old in the state, and $10 million to expand our highly successful program, provide scholarships for deserving students to attend non-public schools. Our capital budget will include a record $133 million additional school construction funding, including the first year of our $3.6 billion higher education project, including funding for major projects at all of Maryland's HBCUS, which we once again continue to fund at record levels. We also provide funding for community colleges, which received with $1 billion more for roads and highways and $1 billion for mass transit projects. We have invested far more in both roads and transit than any administration in Maryland. And once again, we are will dramatically increase the revenue at the Baltimore and create tens of thousands of Maryland jobs. It's one of the most impactful economic development created projects in history. On the environment, once again, we were able to fully fund Chesapeake Bay restoration efforts for the 6th year. Fully fund programs back land conservation programs the 4th consecutive year. We're providing $40 million renewable energy programs. Another $14 million will be dedicated to energy efficiency programs, and we're committing $4 million to extend currently expired zero emissions vehicle tax credit. This budget also tackles some of our most urgent public health and safety priorities, including our efforts to reduce violent crime. We're providing $74.6 billion to fund peace aid to local governments, providing $43.7 million for direct local law enforcement grants, including $3 million to protect Marylanders against hate crimes. Our budget provides an additional $5 million for the 3rd year of our initiative to support crime prevention, prosecution, witness protection in Baltimore City. This budget provides nearly $250 million for community and residential operations to provide care services to youth, supports comprehensive juvenile crime strategy to reduce the number of violent youth offenders in Baltimore City, and a record $9.6 million in savings are realized through our groundbreaking bipartisan Criminal Justice Reform Act to continue exploring evidence-based ways to decrease crime and reduce recidivism. And we are proposing a record $978 million for mental health and substance abuse programs to help combat the heroin and opioid epidemic and other mental and substance abuse disorders. This budget supports our ongoing response to the pandemic and ensures Marylanders continue to have access to health services, increasing funding for local health departments well above their grant formulas, fully funding and accelerating healthcare provider rate increases, expanding resources for developmental disability services, and expanding programs to provide in-home care for the elderly. If you had told me last spring, when we faced the prospect of a near fiscal Armageddon, that we would be able to introduce a budget that provides $1 billion in immediate tax and stimulus relief for struggling families and small businesses, that makes record investments in education, public health, and other key priorities, and which is structurally balanced without any tax increases, furloughs, or cuts to services, I would not have believed that it was possible. But that is exactly what we have been able to accomplish with this FY 2022 budget. I want to thank Budget Secretary David Brinkley, Deputy Secretary Mark Cole, and the team at DM, our entire team, all of our cabinet and their folks in all of the executive departments and agencies for all of the efforts and hard work in accomplishing this economic recovery. But the solution of the budget tomorrow is the step in the process, and we look forward to working together with the House and the Senate and a bipartisan collaborative session to enact a budget. It's our sincere hope of emergency with this economic recovery budget and the Relief Act of 2021, with all of its immediate, emergency, tax, stimulus relief, far and away, the most important thing the legislature must do right now as we continue our work for more illnesses and to get our back in school, mitigate the damage to our economy, and to bring about a robust health and economic recovery, and eliminate and eradicate this pandemic. With that, I'd be happy to take a couple of questions.
So how is it possible? Maybe the Secretary explain magic was done to do the impossible.
It wasn't magic. It was just all of the things that I laid out. Took early aggressive actions. We revenues, our economy came back faster rate. We opened up 100% of our businesses back in July. So the revenues are coming in at a rate. We had 3 serious March and July, we received federal help in a number of different tranches, men, the CARES, and with pay protection. So a lot of hard work, a little tight, and a little luck, but it's a magic. But it's a way to be able to.
Government is enough. There should be more budget. Where are you anticipating that happen? Would be
say after I just went with you, this is fantastic. How can we get it passed? We've had disagreement about, we've been recommending, we last year we put in the largest school construction funding bill ever. They killed the bill. Last year, for 6 years in a row, we provided funding for education more than the legislative formula called for. And we're continuing to do that, but we still don't agree with $4 billion per year and massive tax hikes that would cost the average family $6,800 per year.
Earlier today, President Ferguson said the Senate did not move forward with the confirmation of your nominated health secretary. Does he get your reaction?
I didn't hear what he said, but I think that would be a terrible mistake in the middle of the battle, general, that has led us through this incredible crisis, that built the 6,000 additional surge beds, that got the 6.4 million people tested, and it is now leading the charge on the vaccinations that we have to do 12 million of. I didn't hear his comments, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it would be the worst thing that they could possibly do.
Governor, speaking of vaccines, I wanted to ask you, moving forward to the next week, are you concerned about expanding the eligibility for people as getting fewer doses and accepted from the federal government for the vaccine?
Well, we're making those decisions, every week based on how the providers are getting the vaccinations done. So, as I mentioned in multiple press conferences, we first provided 100% of all the ones for 100% full hospitals and 100% capacity at the health departments and 100% uptake in all the local health departments. What we're finding is they are not getting them done fast enough. We don't want them to sit around. So we're opening it up much faster than we anticipated to get those vaccines put into more arms. But I said it's likely to switch in the coming weeks to, instead of why do you have so many, to why do you not have any left. But we're just trying to find that right spot. I think the president-elect is going to have some discussions hopefully in the coming days about increasing potentially the delivery of vaccines we get to us. But we're going to continue to keep taking the actions that we added additional private sector providers. We're talking about standing up mass vaccination sites, and now we've got 1.5 million people that are allowed to get the vaccine, which is 3 million vaccines. We only have 500, so certainly that's not enough. But we get about 70,000 every week. We also have the incoming president saying he's going to try to get 55 million more out into the states. So we're hoping that's true.
Why move forward with expanding more the
Because we had 300,000 that were still there that weren't being used for the first phases, and so we've said from the beginning we were going to be like Southwest Airlines. You know, you're going to be first, but we're going to move to the next section and the next section. We're not going to stand for people not getting the job done. We're going to make sure they all get used.
Governor, so far missing from the discussion on the budget is the top budget year where the one budget percentage. What are those numbers?
You're going to find tomorrow when we see the budget,
Why not now?
because it wasn't part of my presentation.
Governor, here
We gave you a lot of stuff. You know, tomorrow you get.
number of health workers that are refusing the vaccine.
Yeah.
They don't try to get the state to
We take there and help convince people you need to take the vaccine. As I said, our presidents, as we've repeated, all the partners and as well. We can't get to take the vaccine. We're not going to eradicate this virus, and we're not going to get back to normal. So, you know, it's a job not just for us, but for everybody. If we can't nursing home, hospitals, and some of our communities to take the vaccine, then it's going to be successful. So that's a big part of our strategy. Time and money, marketing, safety, vaccine. We got visible with our vaccine yesterday to people that it was safe, and multiple people do it once the. Well, I think we mentioned the CARES Act, Check Protection, and all. We have we did not have the direct help in local governments that before. To be terrific, but so I talking about our direct stimulus. Some of those we've been into our fund to try to come up with ways to help. More help from the federal government would be, and you know, I think we're going to some of that roll out, but he have to get through Congress, and I'm hopeful, but a little frustrated that it took us 8 months to get the stimulus. So, I'm not quite followed you. If teachers. No, we want to prioritize getting teachers in the classrooms. I think something elect, but Bill Ferguson, who's a former teacher, who's the president of the Senate, everybody said getting in the classroom as quickly as we can is a top priority. It's what our superintendent has been doing with all the companies. The only reason we're trying to teach vaccinated quickly so that they can get back to the classroom. If they're not going to get in the classroom, we probably shouldn't be wasting a vaccine on them. But we're going to push to get everybody vaccinated and get the kids back in school. All right. Thank you.